Hello friends, welcome to my channel once again and welcome to Daily Code Challenges. Today is day 34 and today we are going to be solving minimum number. Alright, so I just close this part. Okay, so what do we have here? It says write a function named minimum number, min_num. The function takes in an array of numbers as an argument and returns the smallest number in the array. Okay, so taking this for an example, we have 5, 2, 10, 4, 5, 3, 7, 9, 13 minus 2. Looking at this, we know that okay, the minimum number here should be the one with the negative value. So we check through the numbers that are negative and we see we have just one negative number, which is minus 2. So we can easily say minus 2 is the minimum number here, right? But how can we show or how can we really tell that minus 2 is the minimum number? How can we write this in code? Okay, so let's do a little bit theory to see how that works. Here is how I think we can work it out because there are so many ways to achieve this, right? So, firstly, we are going to assign the first number here as the minimum number, as the smallest number. Not this 5 per se, but whichever number occupies this index should be the smallest. Then we compare it with the next. For instance, we check if 5 is greater than 2. If 5 is greater than 2, then we simply say we want to make 2 to be at this point here, to be the first number, right? Then when 2 is here, the next thing we want to do is we want to check if 2 is greater than 10. We know 2 is not greater than 10, so 2 remains at this point here, right? So that's going to be something like this. Let me just write it out. So that's going to be something like this. 5 comes here, and then here we have 5 here. So now 2, because it occupies the first index, is going to check if it's greater than 10. If it's not, 2 still remains here, right? And that is going to look through the entire array, check each of the numbers in the array. And when it gets to -1, it checks, is the number occupying this first index, is it greater than -2? If it's greater than -2, then -2 comes to become the first number in the array. So -2 leaves here and then comes here. So we return the first number in the array, which is -2. So that makes -2 the minimum number, right? Okay, so let's see how we can write this in code. Okay, so it says the function name is min_num. So we write our function keyword and we change name to min_num. We change params to array. So we have this here. All right, so because it's an array, we need to look through each of the characters, each of the numbers rather. So we use a for loop. We say for, then I change my index to I, array, yes, we have array there. Then also we remove this line of code since we don't need that. Okay, now let's assign the first number we have in the array, right? Let's assign it to a variable name and let's call the variable name min. So we say let min equals array 0. So this is trying to say that this is the first number we have in the array, not necessarily 5, right? Because 5 is going to lose its position eventually. So we are focused now on just the first number in the array, right? Not 5 for now, though it is 5 for now, but it will still get changed, right? And also we want to use this first number in the array to compare the other numbers. So I here will not be 0. I is going to start from 1. Because if we start from 0, it means we are comparing what is here with itself, which is not, which is irrelevant here. So the next thing we want to do is we want to write a conditional statement to check if the first number here is greater than the next number. If it is, we we push, or we make the next number here, which is 2, to become the first number in the array. And this keeps on going until we get to the last number in the array. So what we do here is using the if statement, we say if, then we say if min is greater than array I, right? We simply set the array I to become the first number in the array. That means we say min equals array I. I hope this makes sense. Let me save this. Okay, so having done this, we need to return something. We need to return this variable called min, because this is going to hold the number that's the first number in the array after all these processes have been done, right? Okay, so let me take it again. We assign the first number in the array to a variable name, which is called min, right? So this represents the minimum number in the array, which should be, of course, the first number we have in the array. At this point, it is 5. Then, looping from the next number down to the last, we are going to check if this first number here is greater than this next number. If it is, we make this next number become the first number, which is what we did here. So array I, which is the next number, because I is starting with 1. So array 1, that's the next number, which is the second number. We make it to become the first number in the array, which is min, because we said here on line 8 that min represents the first number in the array. So this loop goes on. It checks for the first number, the second number, sorry, with the index 1, checks for 2, checks for 3, checks for 4, which are represented here, checks for 1, 2, 3, 4, up to the last number, right? And whenever the first item in the array is greater than any of the numbers here, it makes any of that number that is greater than to become the first number in the array, which is done by this line of code, right? So next thing we want to do is we return min. We say return min, right? And then we invoke this function by calling it. So to invoke the function, let's use this array. So I'll just copy this and say console log, then let's call the array min num array. Okay, so I'll simply just take this out. Okay, so I'll save this and then run this code to see if we've done the right thing. Okay, let's check. Okay, so this says undefined. Why do we have undefined here? Let me run this again. Min num. Okay, so this array, they are supposed to have square brackets wrapping them. Yes. Okay, so let me say this again and run. Okay, here we have -2. Let me clear this console and run again. Okay, we have -2. Yes, of course, -2 is the smallest number here, right? Let's try some other numbers as well. Let's say we have okay. Okay, so here we have for line 18. We know that the smallest number here is 3, right? So we are expected to have 3 as the result. Also, let's change this as well. Let's say we have 4, 3 minus 5, 11. So here we understand that minus 5 should be the smallest number. So we are expected to have here minus 2 as the minimum. Here we are expected to have 3 as the minimum. And then here we are expected to have minus 5 as the minimum. So let me clear this console again. And then I save this and run again. So here we have minus 2, 3, and minus 5, right? So this works fine. All right, this is how I've been able to implement the code to help detect or help tell us the minimum number in an array. All right, so I believe there are so many ways to also work this. If if you are able to work yours differently from mine, please share in the comment section below so I'll be able to learn from your solutions as well. All right, thanks for joining on this call. Thanks for having me, and bye.